The French Quarter shimmered under a late afternoon sun, its Mardi Gras pulse a relentless throb of brass bands and raucous laughter. On Bourbon Street, where jazz clubs spilled their melodies into the heat, the View Care Lounge glowed with the promise of sin. Its velvet curtains and crystal chandeliers hid a world of secrets, the perfect stage for Margaux Thibodeaux, the cabaret singer whose Crescent Moon mask at the LeBlanc ball had caught Julien Dubois's eye. The ambush at Magnolia's End plantation still burned in his mind, but Margaux, cousin to the murdered Edgar Thibodeaux, was a threat he could not ignore. Julien pushed through the lounge doors, his fedora low, his scar lost in the dim light. The air was thick with cigarette smoke, perfume, and the tang of absinthe. A piano traced a slow blues, and Margaux stood beneath the spotlight in an emerald gown, her dark hair falling like a midnight tide. Her voice held the room with practiced grace, and every glance seemed to follow her as if she were leading them somewhere they did not yet understand. He waited until her set ended, then crossed to the corner booth where she had seated herself with a glass of green liquor. He sat across from her without asking. Her smile came first, then caution, as her fingers tightened around the glass. "Detective Dubois," she said softly, her Creole accent smooth and careful. "Come to hear me sing, or to spoil my night?" "For dead, Margaux," Julien replied. "Henri Lavigne. Edgar Thibodeaux. Antoine Leclerc. Clara Beaumont. All tied to the Order of the Crescent Moon. All at balls you performed for. You wore the crescent mask at LeBlanc's mansion. Start talking." Her expression changed only by a fraction, but it was enough. She looked past him into the shadows before answering. "I knew them, yes. Edgar was family. The others were acquaintances. I sing for the elite, Julien. I do not kneel with them. The order? I have heard whispers. Masks. Rituals. Strange loyalties. But I am not one of them. A pawn has its own way of moving," Julien said. Her eyes narrowed. "And a detective has his own way of being used." The words landed cleanly. Julien lit a cigarette and let the match burn low. Her fear seemed real, but fear could be coached. Her voice remained steady, yet she kept glancing toward the rear corridor, as if expecting someone to emerge from it. "Where were you last night, when Clara was pulled from the river?" he asked. "Here," she said. "Singing until dawn. Ask the bartender. Ask the band. They can be bought." "So can detectives," she answered. For the first time, something like anger flashed across her face. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. "You think I am hiding because I am guilty? I am hiding because the ones you are chasing do not forgive. They know who speaks. They know who watches. They know who becomes convenient." Julien felt the old scar along his jaw pulse with heat. Convenient for what? She did not answer at once. Instead, she reached into the folds of her gown and drew out a matchbook, pressing it into his palm. Inside was a note, written in a hurried hand. "Sanctuary. River's End." Julien's eyes hardened. Magnolia's End. Margaux stood, smoothing her dress as if the conversation had been no more than an intermission. "That is all you get, detective. Leave me out of it. If I am right, I am already marked." "Marked by whom?" "By the order," she said. "Or by the person who wants you to think the order did it." Then she vanished into the crowd, her jasmine scent lingering like a warning. Julien stayed in the booth, the matchbook open in his hand, listening to the piano carry a mournful note across the room. Margaux was either helping him or leading him toward a trap. He could not yet tell which. But the note matched Clara's diary, and the name Magnolia's End was no accident. Outside, the city was still singing, still dancing, still hiding its knives beneath the music. Julien crushed the cigarette in the ashtray and rose into the smoke, knowing the game had only changed shape, not danger.